got a towel, so let me know if it starts to drip, okay?
My name's Tyler Small. I am an artist, a digital producer, a black man in healing, and I'm also Amor's dad.
Alright, I'm gonna comb it out just a little bit, okay?
I made it, Dad. I made it.
Yeah.
Becoming a dad was a really eye-opening experience to me. My daughter's name is Amor, which means love, and when she was born, my heart really did melt. I'm really grateful to be a girl dad because it introduced me to just being softer, which isn't always like, a thing you can say to a man and it's a compliment. But for me, it meant a lot because when I was growing up, it just really meant being hard, especially as like a father. Like not really being able to like just hold you and let you know everything will be all right, but telling you to toughen up. And being a girl dad, I really had to learn how to open my heart, be willing to listen, be willing to be patient, and really be mindful of how I show up and how that will impact her.
I think my favorite thing about shooting events like this, shooting opportunities like this, is it's candid. It's just in the moment, it's not posed. We're just here, we're present. And that's what I learned the most from the kid. She reminds me to be present. And here, just a lot of right now.
We set the standard for what it means to be loved. Like our moms teach us how to love, and fathers typically teach you how to be loved. So as a black man, showing her how to be loved in a respectful way, I don't take that lightly. And I think if I can live my life in a way that aligns with a black man in healing who's also trying to show up for everyone in themselves, it's something I'm gonna give my all, give myself grace, and really make sure we're starting new cycles and being mindful of what we can learn from the cycles that have been repeated for so long. Healing a community is something I've really leaned into and really been thankful for with the Village Path, this nonprofit that I get to be a part of and support, where these black men get together at a healing and writing circle and we share our highs and lows. We do a baragami, which translates to what's the news in Swahili, or back and forth. But yeah, it's just been a really great experience to do that, because you can heal alone, but you really gotta heal in community. Even in relationships, when you leave a relationship because it's bad romantically, you can do all the work, but it's really about applying all those lessons and those things you've learned in the next opportunity. So being in community with folks and being able to use these tools, take these new experiences and set a different standard for what a healthy relationship looks like, what healing in community looks like, and also how black men connect and can love each other, appreciate each other, and be honest and vulnerable has been transformative. Because I didn't see that a lot growing up. We kept it cool, we kept it tough. We talked about cars and girls and the things we owned and the things we wanted and the success we wanted to achieve, but how are we navigating discomfort and insecurities and being lonely and all the other things that we didn't get to talk about? So I'm really grateful for being able to heal in community. I think that's the top of the one for me. When I think about helping my daughter navigate grief, it's interesting because she's still, grasping things. For a lot of times, kids is selective focus. It's just once it's out of their eyesight, it's gone. I lost my grandfather last Christmas around the holidays. He passed away, and she kind of understands now that he's not here anymore. And every once in a while, she'd be like, "Where's my grandpa with the flower necklace?" Because we had a Hawaiian party where she sits with my pawpaw, and I took a picture, and I'm really grateful that we have it. And you know, I don't think she gets too sad about it, but she just more so recognizes that someone was here and they're not. For her, I show up with her in grief, honestly, in situations where she has to let go of things, because I think grief kind of shows up in a lot of ways, not just when someone leaves the world, because for me, you know, there's people still in this world that I have to grieve. So for her, it's, you know, her friend has to leave. Kids are very much so like in the now. They're not thinking about, oh, I'll see you 2 weeks from now. They're just like, this ends. This is really hard for me to navigate. I don't want this to end. And that's a lot of times what grief is, suffering because we can't let go of something that is not here anymore. A lot of times with Amor, I like to just sit with her and be there with her and acknowledge what she's feeling and acknowledge how much she loves some things, because grief really is the price we pay for love. Like, I understand it's really hard to let go of this thing, and that's because you loved it so well and it loved you, and that was a really good thing to have. I kind of think of that as like, all right, you had all these good meals in the kitchen, so you're gonna have some dirty dishes to clean. But that's the price we pay. And when I think about how I had to navigate grief as a kid, it was very rushed. Didn't really get to sit with the feelings, didn't really get to understand what was going on, because when parents were showing up back then, it was just like a lot of impatience. It was just their things they had to navigate on top of a kid having to navigate things. And you could definitely look at a kid and think they're blowing it out of proportion. But when you're working on maturing an emotion, it takes time, it takes diligence. And I didn't get that growing up, but it's definitely something I extend to Amor, because I know as I do that, she'll learn how to show up for herself in moments of grief. When she has to let go of someone or something, I'm hopeful she won't hold on to it too tight, because she knows that she held it well based off of how she feels about having to let it go now, and that it'll come again.
This is a different A. That's an A. Aboard. That's A, M. She said that's not an A, dude. Yeah. That says rookie, and that says father. Rookie, you're still learning. Alright, so you gotta press A so we can go.
One thing that I will pass along to her is to believe in something. For me, her name's Amor, which is funny. It's like, I really believe in love. And it sounds silly, but I believe in it in every sense. And that it heals, and that it brings joy. And it's just like, time is the most valuable thing to me. And then there's love. And I love quality time with people, so those go hand in hand. So the biggest lesson that I pass along to my daughter is to believe in something. And whatever that looks like for her, I think will be really important. Because the toughest thing for me was people trying to make me believe something and keep pushing it versus honoring what I connected to, supporting that, and also helping me identify ways to relate to it better. So yeah, I think that's the lesson that I'll pass along for sure. Believe in something. Everybody has to believe in something. And God, the universe, I don't think there would be an ego with that person, with that entity to say, believe in me. More so, believe in something and do the best you can in this tricky world. Healing for me is something I never think I'll be done doing. It's one of those things that I think will just continue to happen in cycles. I don't think at a point I'll be healed, but I think it just happens in these cycles, and also grief comes in waves. So when I think about how I navigated fatherhood and how it impacted me, there were times as I was growing up, my dad was abusive. Like, I remember getting punches to the chest and like threats that a kid shouldn't be getting from their father. But you know, I've worked to kind of understand that I didn't deserve that. And even if I don't get an apology for it, I'm gonna forgive myself and be mindful of, like, I did the best I could in those situations. I wanna say just a couple weeks ago, I had to navigate that pain because I saw a clip in Ted Lasso where his dad is yelling at him in the locker room and pushes him, and then his son finally punches him in the face. And I just bawled out and cried because I just thought about how I didn't deserve that and how I always felt like I wanted to fight back. But I'm a kid fighting my supposed to be protector. It's a fight I wasn't gonna win. So I never got to swing back, and I always dreamed of fighting my dad. But like as I continue to heal, I kind of continuously let that feeling go of wanting to hurt him the way I was hurt, and just focusing on how I can heal and how I can not pass those things along. For him, it was pass it on, and for me, it's heal it and let it pass through, and really take that pain and be mindful of the impact that it can have on the people around. Because for so long I was so angry, and for so long I was fighting. I would fight for no reason, got in trouble for it at school, and at a certain point I was so tired of fighting, and I just wanted to heal. And instead of hating someone for the pain it made me feel, I wanted to love on myself a little bit more and let that exude, because hating your heart will consume you too. And that's what it did for a long time. And I really love, I want to say it's Hurricane with Denzel Washington. He said, hate got me here, but love's gonna get me out. And that's what it's really done for me.
The last conversation, a couple conversations I had with my dad, the one before the last, I asked him, how do you deal with your anger? And he said something along the lines of like, if you aren't mindful of your anger, it'll burn everything you touch. And funny enough, the next time I talked to him, it was a very angry conversation. I had my daughter in my hands, didn't expect to run into him. And the last words he said to me was, I'll F you up. And my daughter's in my arms. And I remember going home and just crying in the bathroom by myself after that happened. And that was the last time I talked to my dad. And I was just like, this is something I need to let go, and it's something I need to heal from, and it's something that's hurt me a lot. And it's a way I never want to show up for my daughter. So even then, I think I started father figures after that. The little fundraiser I do to like raise funds for fathers, and also show that fathers are showing up, because I know in my experience, that wasn't so much the case. But I knew navigating community, being around the people that I get to love and be around, that it is true. And that there's more than one truth out here. And I want to live in that truth and amplify it. So yeah, a lot of the work started when I had to let go and start anew. So yeah, Amor. Yeah, so best thing that ever happened to me for sure.
And you can look at, so when you pick it up, lift it up like this. And I want you to look and see how you feel about it. That's normal. That's the truth. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
I think for a lot of black men, it's just putting on a mask and looking happy, you know, playing the role, and then eventually breaking down at some part, and people not really understanding why, but it's because there was so much beneath the surface going on. And that's usually what it looks like. I usually imagine like a man walking around in armor, and every day he steps out the house and he puts on that armor, and every day the armor gets heavier and heavier. And when he gets home, it's hard to take off the armor. And so now he's heavy at home. And I feel like the people's closest to you see the pain. Like you go out in the world, you're playing the perfect role, you're looking happy, you're looking accomplished, and then you get home and you break down. You're more irritated, you're more frustrated, because you're dealing with this pain that you don't talk about. And it's gonna show up. It's gonna seep out of that armor, and you're gonna fall, and you might just bleed on the people that didn't hurt you. So I see that a lot. A lot of times people doing the best thing they can for the world, but when it gets close to the people that are really in their lives, they get the worst of it, because we're really not dealing with the deep pain that's underlying, with grief that doesn't get addressed, and pain that we don't get to heal and nurture.